Well, I'm Shabaz Ujima. My name used to be DeAndre, which a lot of people from Nashville know me as because I say again, I'm from Nashville. I'm an actual unicorn, and so I have roots here in East Nashville, North Nashville. And what do? I move. I try to help people to remember that moving is something that we've been doing since the beginning of time. And when we move, and I say move, not just dance, but when we move, we connect. And when we connect with ourselves, we connect with each other, we connect with the Most High. And I think that is something that is important that we remember as people of color, is that we've been dancing and moving since the beginning of time. And so right now, I think we're in a time where we don't remember that sometimes. So I think that's what I get to do, amongst other things. But one of the main things really is about, how can I help people to remember that we've been moving since the beginning of time. For one, I know I'm being mindful of the words that I use because I know words have power, but I was an overweight kid. I struggled with my weight, and it was something that, like, being in my body was hard. Like, I didn't like my body because I was fat. And when which we look at, weight can put a lot of, no pun intended, weight on people. And so even though I was bigger, there was something about moving that made me feel good when I always felt so bad with being fat and feminine and all these things. That was just me just being who I was. But then when I moved my body, it connected me with something greater, be it if it was music, be it if it was other people, or be it if it was just like me being like, oh my God, I like how my body feels when I move. And so I think that it was my space of safety to be able to be who I was, and knowing that when I moved my body, it helped me to appreciate me, because it's in my body, it's my spirit, it's my mind that's moving. And so I think as a kid, being awkward and weird, that when I could go to myself and move my body, it gave me purpose, and so it, I think, began there, and I just started to do it, and to the point where, and I'm a kid of the 90s too, where masculinity back in the 90s was a different type of vibe. And so it was like, why aren't you playing football? Because I was a husky, but I was quick, I was agile because of the fact that I was in my body. And so being still like a bigger type of guy, people were like, why don't you play football? Like, with your agility, you'd be really good. But it was just like, it just wasn't my thing. And that was just like the natural thing for men to do. Like, men, you're supposed to play football. You're supposed to play football. And it just, the physicality of it, yes, I was attracted to. I was like, I like being physical. I like the athleticism of football, but the competitiveness of it, I just really wasn't into. I wasn't into, beating people. That's just not really my heart. But I think in that, movement just began to be something that gave me purpose. It gave me something to appreciate me, because I didn't love myself. Being younger and being weird and not traditionally like what would be like, you're not black. It was hard. And so movement was something that helped me to find appreciation for me. Our divine selves, remembering that when I move, this is my movement. When you move, it's your movement. When you move, it's your movement. And that when we can be in a space where we can appreciate everyone, one, for their individuality, but for the fact that then you have your own way. So then you don't have to move like me to be a person who people can connect with and feel. And what makes it always better is that when people can be themselves, because then we give others the ability to also be themselves. And so it's, one of those things again. But I think we have to remember that in ourselves and hold space for people just to be who they are. Yeah, this is my first time here at Faye Day, whereas Magruder Garden Parties, I've been like kicking it with them for as long as Joe's been like, hey, brother, come. Yes, I will. But the Faye Day, which this is the inaugural Faye Day. So, yeah, so this is, something that we have to continue to support, because this is giving again a space for the vast spectrum of blackness. Because sometimes when we think about black, then we really do sometimes put blackness in a box. But when we think about like fantasy and magic, which we've been having our mythology, I guess, since the beginning of time, Oya, Oshun, Yemaya, like we've had our mythology and our fairies and our magic, again, since the beginning of time. But again, those things were taken from us. But again, we are now remembering that we are magical and that we don't have to be put in boxes. And so things like Fae Day, particularly Black Fae Day, giving us people of color an opportunity to be like, you know what, let me get out here and just, I can be weird and know that you come into these spaces and know that you are accepted and that you're loved and that you're valued. I work with, they are what allows me to have my paternal energy expressed, and because I had no kids, and it's all good, and praise God, because everybody, that ain't everybody's journey. Whereas there are some like myself who like going back to, again, remembering. So I think that's kind of like the theme of what we're talking about, remembering. But the village is what we've always had. So be it that I don't have children, I got kids because I'm a part of a village. And know that if you are a father and you need someone to step in to be that paternal energy for your child, then you got people in the village that can and that you trust to be able to do that for you. And so be it that I don't have children, biologically, I got children. We got children. And so, yeah, I work a lot with children. I love early childhood education, particularly kindergarten, and especially being a man in those type of nurturing environments, because sometimes people, again, Western culture, we disassociate men and children. And it's like, no, children need men. And I find that it helps me to even find more youth in life at 44 years old. When I'm able to connect with children, they keep me seeing different ways and helping me to be my best self. Because children sense energy, and if you in a space where, you need to like work on yourself, a child will be able to be like, I'm good, I can't. But if you are presenting a type of energy, then children will be attracted. And I think that's a good thing to know. When children are drawn to you, then it kind of keeps you grounded. The Earth School, just in being, and I think that's just with helping us to begin to become mindful and aware, because again, like just this conversation right now, like this is school, and it's just us being able to connect. And that's something that I think that we're also hopefully beginning to embrace again. It's just being able to sit down and converse with people and without an agenda, but just to be like, hey, how are you? What's going on? And remembering how to listen with not just the ears, but with the heart. Because sometimes things are said that aren't said. And so how can we, in the Earth School, remember that communication isn't always with words, but it's with movement. And that's why I love dating. We can put that back to that, because we learn a lot by watching people move. So, yes, we do. I'm Shabaz, Ujima, and welcome to Earth School. Yeah.